Well, hello everybody, and welcome. Yeah, we've got the shootout of the Cowboy Junkies, Trinity Sessions. So I did a video the other day kind of making the announcement because I had suggested here last week when I did a review of the Cowboy Junkie Trinity Sessions, the classic edition versus the original record. And I said, and then I talked about the Norah Jones record and the Mighty Waters, and I said these are really, really good recordings, and that the 20th anniversary of Norah Jones was going to be reissued, and that I had seen online someone said it sounded just as good as the Analog Productions pressing, and I said, well, that's great. It's only like $27. I think people probably should go and jump on it because it's such a great sounding record. And I said, there's no point to doing a shootout because, folks are saying it sounds great. And they're going, no, Ron, we want you to do the shootout. So I said, okay, if you want me to do the shootout, let me know in the comments. And it was overwhelming. Yeah, go figure, right? People wanted me to do the shootout. And they also suggested, how about the Cowboy Junkies? We want that too. And we want you to compare the Analog Productions record to the classic record. Now, the classic record came out in '09, and the AP came out, well, the classic came out in '09, and Bernie Grunman remastered it. And then the AP came out in 17, and it was Ryan K. Smith over at Sterling Sound. And also in 17, the original mastering engineer who did it in the digital domain, he remastered it digitally because it's from a digital tape. So the digital from '88 now was the original recorded in '88 up into 17. Right, there's been a lot of advancements in digital with digital to analog converters and clocks and all that stuff. It sounds a lot better. You can get a better digital recording now than you could in its infancy back in '88, let's say. But this thing always did sound really good. They recorded it in a church, and you get a lot of space, you get a lot of air in a cathedral like that. You're going to get a lot of, and I think it's worth noting, it was kind of funny. I had read that it was in November when they went to record the record in the church in Toronto. And they really wanted to use that venue because they use only two microphones. They use a certain type of microphone that records everybody in the band, and there's quite a few members. And then they use a single microphone for the singer. Miss Timmons. She's the singer, and her brother Mike's on the guitar, and then they got the other brother, he's playing the drums. So they told the church that, since it's in middle of November, that there was the Timmons family, and they were going to record some Christmas music for the CBC. They're from Canada, so they lied to the church about what they're doing because they were afraid that if they asked the church if the Cowboy Junkies could record some music, they were kind of thinking, well, the church is going, well, we don't really want junkies recording cowboy music in our church. And they'd have to explain how. They just figured it'd be easier just to say, recording Christmas music for CBC. And so that's kind of funny. I thought I'd let you all know about that. But now back into the record. So we made the video here the other day, the announcement about we were going to do the video, got the records in, did a little unboxing video, and then I cleaned all the records, got them in proper inner sleeves, got them put up against the wall, and I'm looking at them thinking, which one first? Which one am I going to listen to? And the 2LP, 45 RPM, analog production. Yeah, I got to listen to that because I just know it's going to sound good. I don't know compared to how good it sounds, but I know it's going to sound good. So put it on, drop the needle. I'm getting ready to walk back to the listening position, and all of a sudden what is the Cowboy Junkies doing the Chipmunks? I said, it's not 45 RPM? So I go back and put it back to 33. I just assumed 2LP, it's 45 RPM. And so we can get off on a bunch of tangents here, that used to be that half-speed mastering was audiophile back in the 80s and even in the early 90s. Half-speed mastering, but then Stan Ricker passes away. Nobody seems to know how to do half-speed mastering anymore. Plus, the mastering process is getting better. They're finding out that actually 45 RPM works better than half-speed. So now they're doing 45 RPM, but it takes 2 records now. You can't just do it on 1 record. It takes 2, so prices are getting multiplied because of that. And so since it's a 2 record, I just assumed it was 45, but what Ryan K. Smith is doing at Sterling Sound, he's recording it a lot louder. It's hotter on the record. And I talked about this last week when we were talking about comparing a couple of records, and what the problems are when you get closer to the label about the tracing and the problems that incurred with the physics problems. So they don't like getting close to the label. So the louder it is on the record, the bigger the waveform, and the further away you have to space the grooves. So if it's louder, it's always going to be getting closer to the record label, right? And you really don't want that. So in order to avoid that, they cut it hotter, but they put it on 2 records. So it kind of looks like a 45 RPM, but it's actually 33, and it's just cut a lot hotter and spaced apart some more. So I put the record on at 33 now, and I sat down, and it's the song I Don't Get It. And it starts off, Michael Timmons he's playing the guitar, and already I can hear a lot of harmonic structure in the chords. I can hear the sound of the string. I can hear his finger kind of rubbing on the strings, and this is sounding really good. And then the harmonica kicks in, and it's just jumping off the speaker. And I actually jumped up and held my head, and I said, "Oh my God!" I sat back down, and the hair on the back of my head standing up. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, this is what I like. I like the thrill ride when you put a record on and it does that kind of stuff to you. But then I noticed, so I said, okay, I listened to this a bit. Now I'll put the classic records one on. I put that on, and then I noticed that the volume was a lot lower. And so, yeah, so now I'm piecing this stuff together. Yeah, it's recorded a lot hotter. It was actually a little bit loud, so I put the Analog Productions record on, and I put the volume to where I liked it. And then when I put the Classic Records edition on, I had turned it up quite a bit more to get more of the volume up there for a proper comparison. And even with that, the Classic Records couldn't maintain the prowess with which the Analog Productions was. Just a lot better recording. It had a lot more air. And so I wanted to talk about that because this relates to audiophile recordings and air. And what is air? When people talk about that, it's a sense of openness, it's a sense of space that you get in a recording. You can get kind of a sense of the space where it was recorded in. And since this was recorded in a church, like I said, you're going to get a lot of space and openness and stuff. But the recording's got to be able to capture that. And so what air is precisely, okay, it's the ability to record of the harmonics to be recorded to whereby, I wrote this down, it's precisely the presence of the harmonics, okay, from the notes in the mid-range and in the treble. And it's the harmonic structure, it's the transients, it's the resonances in those harmonics. That's what gives you air. And that's what gives you your nuance, your microdynamics, your inner detail, and it also helps to define how good the artist is, right? How much skill he has. All those little things help you to determine that stuff. And also, air is the decay of notes, especially on a piano. This is why pianos are so good to listen to in an audiophile recording. When that's really well recorded, boy, you can really hear a lot of harmonic structure. You can really tell if it's a good recording or not because of the decay of the piano notes, the decay of like a bell or a cymbal. Those things, the decay of that note, that is going to also create air in a recording. And air equals detail equals realism, right? This is what air does. It helps create a more realistic sounding record to where on some records it sounds, this is just a phenomenal recording, but you never get the sense that it's not a record. You never get that sense, this sounds like the guy's right in the room. I close my eyes and I can't tell if I'm in their room with the people or not. It sounds that good. Those recordings are rare and they're hard to find. And they're so gorgeous when you do get a hold of one. Because most of them, even though they're so good, you never lose that sense that, yeah, I'm playing a record or I'm playing a CD or I'm playing something. It's a recording, right? I don't lose that. But on the really good ones, you lose that sense and you get the idea that, yeah, because it's got all that air in it. It's got all those harmonics and the inner detail and the structure and harmonics and the transients. All that stuff is on the recording. And so now that's what you get when you're in a live situation. You're hearing all that. And if the recording can't capture that, then you don't think it doesn't lend itself to the realism that we're striving for, right? That's what gets the hair standing on the back of your head and makes you go, oh my goodness, this is what's going on here, right? So, let's talk a little bit about the records. We'll go through the stages. This is the first one I ever bought. I bought it in '88. It's the original Canadian pressing. And when I bought this, I really did think it sounded really, really good. I thought it sounded fantastic. And so I never really bothered to get anything else. But lately now, I was able to purchase the Classic Records edition of the record. And this is an audiophile recording. Compared to the other one, this has got a ton of air that the other one just doesn't have. The other one is just, you know how some records don't seem to have any air and some just have a lot of it. The original record had some air because it was recorded in a cathedral. But it couldn't match this. This is now an audiophile recording. And then we're upping the ante, right? We're doing a hot mix on this one, and we're putting it on 2 LPs. And we're getting it remastered again digitally, and we're remastering it again for vinyl. And this again, now this takes it from an audiophile recording into this is a special record. This has got the breath of life in it. This is one of those rare records that people need to own and be able to appreciate how good of a record this is. This is outstanding achievement. This is kind of like Tea for the Tillerman. That type of thing. Really, really outstanding recording. And I wanted to also talk a little bit about the decay of the cymbals, right? And how that manifests itself. Manifests itself by, I can go back to when I did a review of Santana, the 2LP 45 RPM versus the Columbia 2i. And I had that Columbia 2i, I had it for 50 years. And I bought probably 7 or 8 different pressings of from different countries and such, because there was always a part on one of those songs where the drummer's riding the cymbal, and it's just a bunch of hash. It sounds like those early digital recordings where the cymbals were just like swishy noises. It didn't even sound like a cymbal. It was just kind of noise on the record. Had that kind of, wasn't that bad, but had that kind of quality to it. And it irritated me. I didn't like it. So I was always trying to find another recording. So when I got the 2LP 45 RPM version, I listened to that same song, of course, and that was a completely different thing. I'm hearing the stick hitting the cymbal. I'm hearing the shimmer of the cymbal. I'm actually hearing the bronze in the cymbal, and I'm hearing the decay of the cymbal. That is producing, all those harmonics, all that stuff is producing air, which that record had a lot of. That mastering job did. When they did it at 45 RPM, they remastered it. What a phenomenal recording. And you can still buy that on eBay. I saw a couple of them on eBay. They were $65 for that 2LP 45 RPM of the Santana record. That's another one of those recordings. It just makes the hair on your arm stand up and everything. It's so good. So I can't recommend this record highly enough. The Analog Productions 2LP version of the Cowboy Junkies, and this is a $60, $59.95, $60 record, and it's worth every penny. I think you're judging from what's going on with the Steely Dan UHQRs, especially the latest one. I think you're going to get, this is a sonic spectacular compared to something like that. Now, this might not be your cup of tea as far as music goes, but it is everybody's cup of tea when it comes to audiophile greatness. And thanks for watching, and bye for now.